A lot of people are getting very confused about the whole CPS stuff. Now, baby Aurora is what? Over 7 months now. She was born in December of 2024. It is now August of 2025. CPS has always been mentioned when it comes to Gypsy Rose Blanchard since before she ever even gave birth. But people are very confused about the whole CPS report and the live that Ken Urker did on July 31st of 2025.
And, just attack us in any way they can and just cause an uproar and, hurt us as much as they can. So one day CPS comes by our house. This is not too long ago. And, we're fully cooperative. So we let them come in. They toured our house, took pictures of everything, even took pictures inside of our fridge for whatever reason, took pictures of the inside of our drawers in our room, all kinds of crazy stuff. And of course, they tested us, because these allegations were, we're neglecting Aurora.
As you see, Ken Urker and Gypsy went to Austin, Texas, where they spent about a week there. They came back home to Louisiana, where Ken Urker, their baby Aurora, her dad Rod, and her stepmother Christy all went to Miami, Florida. This took place months ago. It wasn't blowing in the baby's face. It was posting this video that prompted somebody to call Child Protective Services on Gypsy. And coincidentally, at this time, Ken had been visiting Florida. But as you just heard him say, they just came back from Florida. They went to Austin, Texas, went to Louisiana, then they went to Florida, then they came back home to Louisiana. CPS came to their house. Why? Because of this. Right here. On July 16th, of 2025, Ken Urker went live and challenged Ryan Anderson to a boxing match. But he also was very twitchy and weird and anxious. And that is where a lot of people seen him move the camera like this. Now, he's supposed to be in a hotel room in Florida on vacation, and he's vaping inside. Vaping and smoking inside of hotel rooms is prohibited. But that's not the problem. The problem was that Gypsy was holding baby Aurora right there to the left of him. And when he did that, it's either alleged that he was using a substance or he was vaping towards the baby's face. True or not, but this is what really happened. So what Ken just said in his live 2 weeks later on July 31st of 2025 is that they recently, just after they got back from Miami, Florida, they came again to the house. And this time the allegations were that he was using. The allegations of use only began on this date with this particular live. And I'm going to prove it to you because my source told me. Blowing air on a baby's face while it's not preferable and it is a concerning behavior, it is not something that warrants calling CPS. Some people may feel differently. That's fine. But it was this video of her posting baby Aurora with colic, saying night 3 of colic, that prompted somebody to call Child Protective Services. The first time, months ago. So we know that they responded to a call months ago, and we know that they responded to a brand new call recently. This video right here is what prompted the first person to call, because you can go over to Conspiracy's page. She had contact with the person who made the call. That is a letter she got back from CPS from her making that report. She also shows her this in the video. And she also leaves Christy Blanchard a voicemail explaining why she called CPS on Gypsy. But Gypsy Rose also posted this on her TikTok and Instagram stories before, which Conspiracy also covered in great detail and very thoroughly, that Gypsy is trying to tell people here that making a false CPS report is a crime. You know what else is? Seeing something that is actual abuse or neglect or very suspicious or concerning and neglecting to report, that's a crime. And it doesn't matter if you are a mandated reporter or not. All adults have that obligation and responsibility. If you see or know or hear something that warrants an actual call, or you are suspicious of an actual case of abuse or neglect that warrants a call, whether it be to Child Protective Services or Adult Protective Services. Adult Protective Services is a division of Child Protective Services or the Family Division Services. And that's largely for people that have mental illness, mental disability, whether they be elderly, but that can go for anybody. If you see any adult that is being abused or neglected in any kind of way, you can call Adult Protective Services. And that's not just a recipient's rights complaint, a civil complaint, if they do have a mental disability and mental illness, on top of calling Adult Protective Services. But Gypsy is trying to insinuate and threatening people that falsely calling CPS, meaning that you're lying to CPS, is a crime. But people had an actual legitimate reason to call. And from what they seen, what they witnessed, what they know, what they have concerns over, they have the legal and moral obligation and responsibility, just as we all do, to make a call or report, just to check. Now, Ken went live on July 16th of 2025. On July 18th of 2025, after they were still in Florida and then went back home from their trip in Florida, there were people, more than one, that called CPS because they felt Ken was using off camera. That's what they felt they heard. That's what they felt they saw, and they reported it. But this wasn't just it. They also attached to that report about him speeding, not buckling Aurora, going to see the Easter Bunny, not buckling Aurora the week previous to the Florida trip when they went to Austin, Texas, doing 84 in a 65 zone on a Texas highway and 77 in a 70 zone on a Texas highway. Gypsy not being buckled at all when she just got her driver's license last year. In a moving vehicle. The disregard for traffic law, whatever, fine. But the disregard for Gypsy or the baby's safety when he says that's the one thing he cares about. But it's also the fact that Aurora going to see the Easter Bunny and going to Austin, Texas was not appropriately buckled with her strap down like this, when it should be extremely pulled tight and secure. And the clasp that goes in between the legs should be pulled tight as well, securing the baby's torso. But even though Gypsy wants to tell everybody that making false CPS reports is a criminal action and that it's taking away resources, but it is also a criminal action to see abuse or neglect or to see something suspicious that warrants at least calling and reporting it and not doing so. That is neglecting. And people that have a legitimate reason to call and they called, that's on them. But this is what warranted the first call. This live is what warranted the second. And no matter what, Gypsy lied months ago and said that they both stopped smoking. Going over to vaping is not much better. I myself stopped smoking on October 15th of 2014. And I had only been a cigarette smoker for a little over 5 years before I got on Chantix and I quit. I do vape occasionally, but do you think I vape inside? Do you think I ever vape in front of my baby's face? Or do I just disregard any kind of fire and health code safeties for not vaping and smoking indoors in a hotel, especially when your baby is right there on the side of you? Absolutely not. You can choose to smoke, vape, drink, whatever, but your baby shouldn't have to be subject to that, to all of those chemicals, those carcinogens, none of it, let alone just the fact that the nicotine residue itself is concerning. And that's coming from Gypsy herself. Alcohol and nicotine are two of the most dangerous and the most addicting substances. Alcohol not only will completely destroy your liver, smoking anything other than high quality H2O is going to cause permanent damage. And we all know that alcohol withdrawals, they can be very fatal. It's the one that actually can take your life. Not only DTs, but with seizures, cirrhosis of the liver. So this isn't all just made up. This is two different allegations. And Ken, in his new live, which took place on July 31st of 2025, he is mixing up the old allegations and call with the brand new one. But you heard him yourself.